back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is going to be our recap for not Total Madness, which is what I was about to say, but Double Agents, Episode 3. As always, my name is Zach, and I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, what's up?
Joined remotely by my best friend, Jake.
And lounging in front of the Christmas tree. How's everybody doing tonight?
Yeah, we are meeting over Zoom. This is going to be audio only, but it's just, we found, even though the app we use for audio-only podcasts sounds better, it's just a lot easier to, like, play off of each other's, like, facial expressions and things like that when we're doing Zoom. Even if we don't show you guys the video, every once in a while we'll put the videos up on Patreon or something like that. But tonight is not going to be one of those nights.
We're just festive for each other.
Yeah.
My nipples are out.
Yeah.
And so now they are. One is, oh God.
I hate this.
Yeah, so we got some breaking news that I'm gonna break to everyone in a little bit in case people skip through this because we have some people who do not listen to the opening of the podcast.
Hey, rather you break some news than break some hearts. Am I right, Zach?
That's right. That's
what he was doing. He did all his teenage years, Han. You wouldn't believe it.
You wouldn't. The wake of destroyed.
You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. One thing I will say before we get into it, if I sound a little weird, I've been very congested and coughing, not been feeling well the last few days. I did go get tested for COVID just because Tennessee is leading the entire world in infection rate. I don't have my results yet. They hopefully will be here tomorrow. But if you hear that, that's why. I did take Delsum, and I've got cough drops with me to hopefully mitigate that. But if I sound congested, that's why. So I did have to cancel our Zoom call with our patrons because I just was out of it on Monday and Tuesday. I'm feeling better today, but we will be rescheduling our Patreon Zoom hangout with our Bloodlines level patrons. I just haven't decided exactly when because the holidays are so crazy for everyone. So that's patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast. You can check that out. We have a couple different levels on there. And then, make sure to follow us on social media at Smashing Heads on Twitter, at Smashing Heads Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And I don't remember what episode we said this in, but we don't have TikTok. We don't have Snapchat.
I think it was last week.
Was it? Well,
last week.
So technically we've recorded an episode that no one has heard yet. We finished out Fresh Meat episodes 13 and 14. Is that right?
It's the last 2 episodes in the season.
Yeah, but I think on CBS All Access there's actually a couple more that are just like random things. But anyway, that'll be dropping at some point over this next week because we kind of got behind with that just because Double Agents started in the middle of us watching Fresh Meat. And good God, I'm so grateful for Double Agents. So do we want to just go ahead and announce what we were going to announce?
Or do you want to tease?
Until when?
Until the end of the
pod? We'll drop it in the middle of the pod.
So you got to listen.
To listen. So after we get back from the first ad break.
Yeah, and we do have to do multiple ad breaks because our host doesn't like us only doing one. It gets mad. It's like you don't have enough for how long your podcasts are. So we're going to do a few of them. And then guys, you got to stick around for the fantasy segments.
Yeah,
man, and I have so many points to give out tonight. At one point,
your mind had to blow, like go crazy in the middle of the CT Josh Devin thing.
So at one point, I had to just because normally what I'll do is I'll write down such and such happened 5 points, such and such happened 10 points. I had to just start writing stuff down and then pause it and go back and add all the points to the things that had happened. Because it was happening so fast.
Yeah, you had a lot of zingers coming right at you.
It was a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
So again, that's always at the very end of the podcast. It's new for this season, but
it's so much fun. We've had a really good time with it.
Fan favorite.
I think but I don't think you're saying that even playfully. I think people really enjoy that.
Well, yeah,
we've had a lot of really good feedback on it,
and it's literally something that no other podcast is going to give you because it's all made up on the spot. And
all the points are coming from Jake.
And Hannah is in a very commanding lead from last week. Just to recap it for you guys, she at the end of week 1, it was 30 Hannah, 35 me, and then 25 Jake. So I was in the lead by 5 points. We were all within 10 points. And then after last week, when freaking Kyle,
and
winning.
Fessy.
Yeah, they Hannah has 115. I have 0 because my team just got destroyed, and then Jake has 55. So it's just completely gone in all directions.
Yeah, well, I may not have a too good a week since Wes, went home, and he's on my team, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get to that at the end, and we'll drop who. That was a teaser right there. Didn't even mean to say it. We'll drop what the news is in a minute.
In the middle of the podcast, so make sure you listen.
Don't skip ahead,
I like
guys.
that idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
I'm not even gonna give any sort of like segue. I'm just gonna be like, here it is, right in the middle.
Hey, guess what?
Of us talking. I don't even know if I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna be like blah 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 blah, and then keep going, and then we'll go from there.
So not only do you have to listen, you've got to pay attention.
Yeah. So let's get into tonight's episode. One, we had a very lengthy recap to start off with because a lot has happened in the first 2 episodes. There's a lot of twists this season. You had CT in a wig of some sort to start off with, and he's just basically recapping everything. But we hear, Kyle, comes out of elimination, big elimination win. He got blindsided by it last week, and he's mad at Fessy still. He basically just starts rounding the troops against Fessy.
Yeah, he's decided that his new alliance is just with all the outlying teams that are not involved with the Big Brother alliance, and then whatever Cam has.
Yeah, so I mean that's Wes, Devin, which is not looking great right now, and then CT and some Nom is in that somehow. I guess he's just in their room. And so Kyle's pumped up, and then you got CT kind of bringing him back down to reality. He's like, that kid showed up with no pants and was eating mustard. He's like, let's bring it down a little bit. Which there's no lies. That's what happened.
It's not lies. It did happen.
After that, we get Big CT together. They're talking. I don't think he knows quite what to make of Big T at this point as a partner.
Well, she's turning them into animals. Right?
Yeah, that comes in yeah.
She is treating CT like her new project. A person to.
She's like, you got to smile more.
Yeah, she's like, you need to smile more. You need to learn everyone's name. If you just look at the dynamic of their relationship, he's treating her like the 5-year-old niece that wants to play dress up, and he's like, sure, just okay, I'll go with whatever you say.
Which is exactly how we said it seems like the entire cast views Big T. It's like, we really like her. She's super nice, but like they don't see her as like any sort of competition. They're just like, yeah, sure, whatever you say.
Well, she tells him that she'll be the personality coach, and then he's going to be the fitness coach, and they come up with code names for each other. And so CT comes up with a nickname for her first, and he's like, oh, I'm going to call you. It was either Nighthawk or Skyhawk.
I thought it was just Hawk.
I thought it was just Hawk too.
Yeah, maybe it was.
I think
okay.
he just added to it.
I just didn't hear it well. So he calls her Hawk, like it's a cool code name. And then she's like, ooh, I'm going to call you Fuzzy Bunny. And he's like, I guess I'm Fuzzy Bunny now.
Yeah, well, she actually just called him Bunny. And then in the confessional, he's like, I'm Fuzzy Bunny.
No, she said Fuzzy Bunny.
Well, not then. It may have came later because like he was adding to that. And I was like, well, I guess that's just what he's going with now.
You guys and your specifics.
Regardless, those are just like very opposite.
Well, Hawk eats a bunny. They snatch him up.
They swoop down.
Yep.
They do.
So she's going to eat him.
All right.
So, yeah, after that, like we get a little bit with that. Then we get one of the more confusing moments of the episode, probably of the season.
Yeah.
Which we just watched the Fresh Meat finale, and one of the episode before last was one of the most not smart moves I think we've ever seen. Like basically Derek just like, we're gonna throw our bags down and hope for the best, and you can't do that in the Exile. And this is similar. I guess the only thing Fessy can like justify it with is that it's going to come out eventually that the voting room or whatever, all their votes aren't secret. The power couple or whatever they're called, they get to see everyone's votes. But I don't understand why he just announced it to like a room of like 8 or 9 people.
Yeah, it's like in the heat of the moment with Kyle coming at Fessy, really upset.
He's like, well, I know your votes, and it's like
he's like, dude, you just blindsided me. Like I didn't do anything to you. And then Fessy's like, well, you lied to me. You said that you voted for Wes when in fact you did not. And but here's the thing, like it didn't make sense to do it right then.
You know what it reminded me of? Hey, and you'll appreciate this, that episode of The Office where Stanley gets sassy at Michael and he walks, Stanley's in like the break room, right? And Michael comes out of his office and he announces to the whole office, hey, I'm about to fake fire Stanley, but I need you to act like, it's for real. Now, obviously a different sort of situation, right? But it had the same sort of like, what are we doing here kind of vibe to it.
Again, like as soon as another team wins, it's going to be out. But like, why would you just like haphazardly throw that like very valuable at this point? Because there's a chance they could win the next couple of dailies and no one would know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that was an upper hand, a really big advantage that Fessy and Anissa had, and they agreed to keep that information to themselves for as long as possible. And I mean, even if you decided you guys were going to tell the house, you would want to do it in a way where you still had the upper hand. But it kind of seemed like Fessy just didn't have a response to Kyle, so he just kind of threw it out there. Well,
it seemed like he was
you lied to me.
He was in over his head in the moment and just wasn't thinking about like, oh, I should have probably held on to this.
Yeah, well, and in the middle of that, Kyle retorts back and he spills the beans that to Wes that the quote unquote the whole stupid brigade, which is Nelson and Corey and then Fessy, tried to turn the house on Wes.
Well, what makes it even more puzzling is like, if you are going to come out with that information, why would you not, which we see here in a minute, why would you not go to your alliance first?
Yeah,
and then really your teammate and let her know, like, hey, I'm about to spill that we have this advantage.
Again, I think it was a heat of the moment thing, and he wasn't thinking through like what that actually was that he put out there.
I don't know, man. I thought it was, we talked real big last week about
that's what I was just about to say.
Fessy is at this game. This was a sign of the fact that it's his second season.
And, shout out to the Fessy Stan account that, tweet or posted our clip on Instagram, and all the other followers of that chimed in. We're fans of Fessy. We interviewed him last season. Hopefully we got some new listeners out of that, but this was not the best move looking back. And I think even he would probably say that. Again, once Leroy and Casey won, then that's out of the bag anyway. But
I mean, who's to say they weren't, like, Fessy and Anissa weren't going to win the next daily?
But even then, like, you could just go pull Leroy and Casey aside beforehand and be like, listen, you guys are going to get to see the votes. Like, we haven't told anybody, but let's keep that between the winners so far.
And I bet they would too.
Yeah, I mean, it did again, but that whole twist is out of the bag.
Yeah, it was just very confusing that he kind of dropped the bag when he did.
By the way, I don't know if this was on the official challenge podcast because I haven't listened to that, or if it was just on Reddit or something, but a lot of people said one of the reasons why Kyle was so mad was because I believe Kyle is diabetic and he had been out drinking like crazy the night before and hadn't fully recovered. And then he found out he was going into an elimination, and that's why he was mad. Like, he wasn't given a heads up because he legitimately has like a medical issue that he would need to like ready himself for. Which again,
oh my gosh,
it's all fair. Like, there's nothing against the rules with that.
Yeah, but I would be mad about that too.
I
understand him. I understand Kyle being mad because to him he was blindsided. To Fessy's like, oh, he lied to me, so I'm going to get him back. But the fact that he would need to actually legitimately prepare in order to compete at his best and not be given that opportunity because of medical, that's crazy.
That's like if you were on the show hand and it was a swimming elimination and they voted you in.
And you had to be covered in peanut butter first.
You had to be covered in peanut butter. Like you're
And
just
swim
done
it
at that
off.
point.
Yeah.
You're just done. Like you're going home or you're dying.
Going home, go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that was
Get some insulin in you or something.
Yeah.
Insulin is for diabetics.
No, that's back. I got that backwards.
No, just jab it in. It's fine.
Okay.
So Cam comes into the room. She starts settling Kyle down. I kind of had forgotten that he had changed partners, honestly. And so because she knows anything he does affects her now. But then get to your point, Jake. Corey was upset that he was not let in on this secret before it just was told to the whole room.
Yeah, sorry, I was popping open a cold one. That is a bang, a peach mango, not a White Claw or something.
Because you don't drink.
Shout out to our buddy Logan, right? He loves
actually, shout out to Logan. He launched a Patreon this week. If you're a fan of Rotten Bananas podcast, go check that out.
Go support them. Those are our friends.
I actually believe there's a tier called like the Mango Ruby White Claw.
There is. There's something.
That's really funny. That's his favorite flavor, isn't it?
Yeah, he can rotten my bananas. What did you ask me about, Zach?
I think I just said Corey was upset that Fessy didn't let him in on it earlier.
Well, because Fessy told a bunch of people in the house before telling him, and Corey was upset that he's like, I'm the last one to find out, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great look whenever you find out like third hand that the person you're working like really close with has told basically all of your people you voted against a big secret in this game. Mm-hmm. So you know what? Let's take a break right here. And then we'll be back in just a minute. We are back, and as promised earlier, you know what? We're gonna let some news out soon, but I'm just gonna let it leak at some point during this. Jake, we get to the daily. It's called Roadkill. One of those.
We know about Roadkill here in Tennessee.
That's true. One time I was with some people, and we were like 16 or 17, and they were rolling your yard. Your house. God. They were throwing toilet paper in your trees, and I was driving someone else's car for some reason, and I hit an owl.
I was just about to say, an owl. I remember this story.
Yeah, like a wingspan of like 6.5 feet. Like, it was a big bird.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's freaking big. I saw it coming. I was like, there's no way, and then I just nailed it. And rest in peace, owl.
You could have tried to slow down.
I did. Like it came out like it was so dark, and we were driving on a road where there wasn't any lights, and it just swooped in.
Did you have the lights off on the car?
No, we were on the road. I mean, this was after we left.
Yeah, that's what
house.
you're supposed to do. When you're rolling it, you're supposed to turn off all the lights.
We had already left his house.
Oh.
So anyway, roadkill. Jake, I got an interesting thing I got to share with you on this one. So TJ's explaining basically you're trying to push the other person off. You're going 50 miles an hour. He's like, hey, this is the first time we've ever done one of these challenges with no harnesses. And so I'm pumped about it. He's like, make sure you don't fall off the back. And so it starts. The round one has already started. And Hannah's like,
okay, here it comes.
Hannah says to me, hey, it's raining, by the way, if anybody hears anything.
Like,
it just started raining. She said, they got to make that ground like really soft all around them. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, so when they fall, that they don't get that hurt. And I was like, hold on. I was like, one, did you not see the nets everywhere? And I was like, two, do you really think they're pushing each other all the way off of a semi truck at 50 miles an hour? And she's like, yeah, that's why it's so dangerous. And I was like, well, they're not crazy. Like, we would have had probably someone would have died if that happened tonight.
You ever been to what's that place called here in our city? Sky Zone?
Yeah, I haven't been there, but anyone I know that's gone at like our age has come away with like a torn ACL or a broken ankle or something.
My
God.
Her mom tore ACL.
My mom tore her ACL earlier this year. I think it was like January, February, or maybe it was like, it was early this year before COVID.
She's not our age, but
it's my mom.
A guy that I used to work with, his wife tore her ACL at one of those like last year.
She was younger than she's like 20.
Yeah, you have to sign some very severe waivers to go in there.
Good
Lord. But it's made for kids.
Yeah. What was that have to do with? You brought this up.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to paint a picture for Han.
No,
But-
I got it.
But it sounds like Sky Zone may be more dangerous than this challenge, honestly.
Well, I mean, if you take her rules out where there's no nets and you're just falling, 20-something feet at 50 miles an hour, then that's way more dangerous.
Imagine them falling to the ground, Han. You know what sound they're going to make? The same sound you made when Zach thumped you on the toe.
Why do you bring this up every day?
Except with
Every
a
day
little
of our
tongue roll in
lives.
there.
I thought you were gonna like roll your R, like speaking
I
Spanish.
can't. Can you do that?
No, I can't do it. I can't. I don't. We can't do it. Neither one of us. I just have some like quick notes. I didn't write round for round. One, Nicole's shoulder popped out, and she's very calm about it.
Yeah, she was super calm. But she was like, "It hurts. Don't touch it. We'll get it taken care of."
Jake and I recently had a run-in with this.
Yes, we did.
I don't think we talked about it on podcast, but we played basketball a few months ago, I guess. Are you looking at the rain outside or listening to it?
Well, my lights flickered, so I'm hoping
it lightened here.
I checked the radar
Yeah.
right before we came down here, and it's very much like the tornado weather.
So let's
radar
try to get
that
to
we're
this.
used
Anyway,
to.
that's rude, and we're podcasting.
I didn't make it happen.
So Jake and I played basketball months ago.
It was about June.
And it was not at all. Anyway,
It was not super recent.
it was like October.
No way.
Yeah, I broke up with my ex in June.
Yeah, it was way after that.
Okay.
So anyway, we did that, and
Hey, shout out to my ex, by the way. I hope she's doing well.
I don't.
Every episode.
Anyway, this little guy, like stuck his arm out when somebody was driving, and he just starts screaming and rolling on the ground, and we thought he was faking. Turns out, ripped his shoulder out of socket, and we had to have some guy FaceTime like a nurse to tell us how to put it back in. And we were all too afraid to do it because we didn't want to hurt him anymore, but we knew that you could. But shout out to our friend Joey for popping it back in.
We did it.
Yeah, well, we didn't really do it. So anyway, Nicole dislocates her shoulder, and obviously it was a lot more intense than what she let on to be, considering the fact that she left after that.
Yeah, but
Well,
she's a really tough girl.
Initially, it was funny because like it's like when you're playing chase when you're kids, right? And you just say time out, and then you just run, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's what cheaters do.
yeah, that was the first thing that kind of popped in my mind. May or may not be fantasy points involved there.
Okay.
Okay.
So then you get Josh.
Slapping himself all over.
It reminded me of like Donkey Kong when they like beat on the ground to like make bananas pop out. Which shout out to Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2.
All-time great games.
And all-time frustratingly hard games. But he did that. But Wes outsmarted him. Again, toe drag like, NFL receivers do. It's the last person to be touching the top. And, Wes did that. Then not long after that, you had Liv say she snapped her arm. Very calm about it. Not sure exactly what happened because she was able to come back and they're like, oh, we're just waiting on radiology.
Yeah, they said that she sprained something in her elbow.
Well, yeah, I think they said that, but they were waiting to hear if like there was any fractures or anything. But again, it's weird. They definitely pivoted this episode because it should have been a female elimination, but with Nicole going home, they just kind of reset everything. Yeah. And we'll get to that in a little bit.
Well, you clearly can't bring anybody in, right? Because like you've specifically quarantined these people.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And you already have a huge cast anyway of 30 people.
Right.
Yeah.
Nom and Lola were the first team to both win and stay on the truck while doing it.
Where I guess they just weren't the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the thing. It wasn't necessarily staying on the truck. It was the fastest to get the other person off.
Yeah, I just noticed most teams timed out, or when they were wrestling, both competitors fell off the truck. But Nom and Lola were the first team where both of their team members were able to stay on the truck and throw their opponent off.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're physically like one of the most dominating teams. Like it's not even close. But then you had CT and Fessy going against each other, and then Big T and Anissa, which is not fair in any regards in this one. But like, man, CT
just pushed her right off.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
and she was like, "I'm trying not to hurt her."
I knew that Anissa was going to wipe the floor with Big T. I mean, you could look at them and just know. But I think we know Big T has never been in any kind of like physical altercation with anybody ever because she didn't even know how to throw a punch.
Well, she went home last year on cutting her foot open, and the year before last, she was like the first female elimination against Georgia, and it was just pushing a cart with a fire on it.
I think if CT can like teach her some things, she'll be able to hold her own at least a little bit longer. But she could have had somewhat of a chance, maybe, if she had known to stay low, go after Anissa's feet or knees just to get her down.
No chance.
But again, she doesn't even know how to hold her hands up. So I mean, I knew that it was over before it started.
It's like your 5-year-old niece. You're like, "Oh, you're gonna get me," and then you're like, "No."
Han, you could beat her in this challenge with peanut butter covered on all over you, and hyperventilating.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
With insulin all in you.
Yeah, you could still beat her.
Yeah, she's not great.
I don't know what that says about me though.
It says more about her. By the way, Fessy and CT, I tweeted it. It didn't get much traction. It just reminded me of King Kong Godzilla. But one, I really love those movies, so that's probably why. Kong Skull Island is great. All the newer Godzilla movies are great. Do
you enjoy being able to tweet during the
I do.
He likes live tweeting.
Yeah.
I feel like you thrive off of that.
I only did 2. I think I did 2 tweets all night. One was the Fessy CT one, nothing. It's like 3 or 4 likes. But then I got one, and it's taken off like a rocket to the moon. And
we're going on a trip on our favorite rocket ship.
So Leroy and Casey win the whole daily. They were the fastest to get both their teams off.
Well, Casey plays women's tackle football.
I think she said that every episode, by the way.
Yeah.
And
in
also,
case you forgot, she reminded us.
Amber, whatever from Are You the One?
Amber M.
She's possibly, if Big T's not the weakest, Amber M is.
Casey playing women's football, tackle football, is the new Wes swimming.
Okay.
Right?
I'm a swimmer. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. Hey, did you guys notice when CT and Fessy timed out, Fessy had a little Step Brothers quote?
I thought CT said it. Said it.
Fessy said it, and then CT finished it. I'm pretty sure.
It's the other way around.
Yeah. Did we just become best friends?
Yeah, it was the other way around.
Are you sure? I swear I thought Fessy said it.
So anyway, Leroy and Casey win. They get the advantage. I don't even remember what their thing is called. But they get back to the house, and then they just show like a flashback. And like Nicole's gone. She's crying. She's packing up her suitcase. Which, by the way, like had a decent chance of going pretty far in this game.
Yeah.
She definitely, her and Devin were like polar opposites, and we actually got a clip of that earlier. He's kind of making fun of her again, but like she's had some bad luck, like with injuries. She rolled her ankle or whatever in the final of Vendettas, and this one is just I don't know. Like I didn't expect her to go home because she was very calm about all of it.
Yeah, and I hate it, man. I really do. Especially since she was getting a lot of crap just as a competitor, at the top of this season, and I kind of went to bat for her just as far as like what she's capable of doing. And
I think she's on my team. Yeah, she is on my fantasy team.
Is she? I thought she was on mine. I thought I drafted Peanut Butter.
No, she's on mine.
Okay, all right.
No, I hope you gave her so many points that you weren't expecting.
I gave her points. She also lost some points, but
yeah.
I feel like it's going to even out with her. Honestly.
So after that, when Nicole goes home, then we get one of the defining moments of the episode to me. CT and Casey are in the kitchen, like cooking, but like kind of like playfully arguing. and CT's just like upset that she's cooking like a microwavable pizza on the stove because he wants to cook an egg quesadilla, which is a weird thing.
Yeah.
But they're arguing, but it's not anything serious. Like it is
It's
not
just like it's not really even arguing. It's more like bickering a little bit.
If Josh did not get involved in this would not have made the episode.
Well, even after they walked away, CT was like, I'm already over it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, neither one of these two, Casey or CT, were up in arms about this.
No, they're both like adults who can like talk to each other and like not see eye to eye and then be fine. And so he walks off, he goes outside, and then Josh comes out there and he's like, she's in the kitchen crying.
I gotta say, like, there are a lot of people who like Josh out there. This little segment alone right here makes me question every one of you. I don't understand it because one, he interjected himself into something
for no reason.
No reason. Casey was fine. And two, like, Casey can absolutely take care of herself.
Also,
like,
there wasn't an incident. There was nothing.
No.
The other thing is, like, he just blatantly lied. Like, just said, she's in there crying, bro. And it's like, no, she wasn't.
And then CT goes into the kitchen. He's like, hey, Josh told me you're in here crying. She's like, I'm not crying. She's like, I'm fine. He's like, good, we're good. And Josh is like, I never said she was crying. I said she's upset. And then
like,
I looked at Hannah, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he specifically said crying. And
he
then
did.
he played the flashback.
He did. I don't understand, like, for any of you guys that, like, stan Josh, and there are people that are out there that exist that stan him, like, this right here is indefensible. There's nothing you can say to, like, justify this.
And what makes it so much better is the fact that before he even got in the middle of it, he said, I really don't even want to get involved. Immediately inserts himself into the situation. He asked CT what happened, and CT even said, it was between me and her.
Yeah.
And then Josh's response to that was, I don't want to have a falling out with you.
Yeah,
what does that even mean?
Again, he lives in his own world where he's like best friends with all these top dogs. And he's like, I just don't want anything to come between us.
I don't want to have a falling out with you.
Even though I'm making something come between us.
And then CT was like, Josh, just go away.
Well, he had his initial response, because I gave him points for it. CT's initial response to all of it, the like first, like, I don't want to have a falling out. His initial response was stop.
Yeah,
because he knew. Yeah. He just knew. Like, he knew what was about to happen.
They showed CT in like a confessional, and he's like, Josh is a lot.
He's Josh.
Yeah, and so this happens. He's just Josh. That's what the quote was. He's just Josh. And then he lies about it, and then it becomes a big thing. And so then everyone's fine. And then CT and Big T are there, and she's trying to like calm him down. And then this is when Devin jumps in, which by the way, I love it.
Well, CT hollered back, and he's like, everybody else having fun with me. And then Devin just hops on it.
Well, Devin's just sitting there. He knows how Josh is. He sees what's going on.
Everybody knows how Josh is.
Everyone saw that Josh completely got involved in a situation which was nothing, and there was no reason to be involved with. And so then Devin just yells, Big Brother sucks, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw, Jake. I rewound it and showed Hannah. When he yells that, Fessy's standing directly behind him, and he thought it was really funny that he yelled that.
Like, he almost choked on his food.
So he yells, Big Brother sucks. And then Josh gets really upset. Like
the quiet upset at first.
Inconsolably upset, to where like security comes in. Then they have to go outside. Devin's out there smoking, which, by the way, Devin's coming on the podcast on Monday of next week. We're interviewing.
There it is.
There's your drop. There's your drop.
We actually reached out to him before any of tonight's episode. We didn't know that this was happening. It just turned out. Great timing. Honestly,
and then Zach texted him again. I was like, "Hey, buddy, what's up?"
I don't think that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
But Devin was at the time probably, and maybe all time, our most controversial interview, because it was at the height of the bananas thing. We love Devin.
We really like Devin.
No bones about it here. We all had a lot of fun with him. He's the person that made me like the Are You the One cast, because I was like, oh, this guy's funny. Tonight proved everything that I wanted out of Devin. And so anyway, Josh is outside. He's being restrained by like 4 security guys.
Like he comes
and Casey
to Devin.
And someone else.
After Devin yells out, Big Brother sucks, Tori escorts him out of the kitchen, like away from everybody. And Josh follows him out to the yard.
By the way, that was my killer tweet. Was I took that scene from Infinity War where you got old Captain America, and I don't even remember what they say to him, but he's like, "No, I don't think I will," because he's like living his life as an old man. And I was just like, Tori, Devin, go to bed, and Devin's like, "No, I don't think I will." And I was like, perfect, because Devin then he tells the whole room to eat his butt again for the kids here.
He yells Big Brother sucks a second time.
That's after. And then he says the eat my butt again later too. But then Josh just loses it. And then Devin at one point is like, if you like my tracksuit so much, you can just ask to borrow it. And
well, in the middle of all this, Josh has a confessional. And Jake, I think you're really gonna love this. He says about Devin yelling out Big Brother sucks a second time just to antagonize him. Josh says, now you're going to get checked and I'm going to put you in your place.
Yeah. Which, what history is there? Anyway, so that happens. And then for whatever reason, Devin just starts yelling, "What's 8 times 9?" Or
he yells it like 4 times.
Which for whatever reason just further makes Josh explode. 8 times 9. It's
hey Josh, what's 8 times 9? What's 8 times 9?
We didn't even talk about how like in the kitchen CT was like talking to him, and CT gets a little louder and is like, "What are you doing here?" And then Josh just explodes. It's like, "I can yell too."
He's like, "Why are you yelling over me?"
Listen, that shouting match was because
they
literally both just started screaming.
Yeah,
like just no words, just screaming.
And so then, but again, the whole time CT thinks it's funny, but Josh is losing his mind. This whole time, Devin thinks it's funny.
And that's the thing. Like at some point during the whole Devin and Josh exchange, they go back to CT, and he's quoted saying, "He's just funny though." Like it's just. It's bizarre. I swear, like
it's similar to the Big T thing, where it's like everyone in the house is like in on it. Like they know that like Josh is gonna lose his mind and insert himself in situations that he shouldn't be in, and they know that he has buttons that you can push all day long,
and it works. It never fails.
But you know what, like. The difference between him and CT is the fact that, like, this makes him watchable TV. As crazy as that may think it is. Big T. Is that what I say?
You said CT.
Okay, Big T, yeah. As crazy and, like, irrational as I may think the guy is, like, it's fun to watch.
It is fun.
This was one of the funniest episodes I've seen in a while.
Okay, I will say it wouldn't be fun if it was just him doing that and everyone's just like, calm down or whatever. But because Devin is just egging him on the whole time,
laughing,
that's what makes it funny.
Giggling,
because he doesn't care at all. And this is one of my favorite like segments on the challenge.
Well, the thing was with everybody knows that Nicole went home. She was sent home because she was hurt. Yeah. So in Devin's mind, he's like, I'm either going to be a rogue agent or this next elimination is going to be another guy's elimination. So I'm probably going to go home anyway. He's like, I have nothing left to lose. So he's just going to push as many buttons as he can, see if he can get Josh to just snap and hit him and
he
go
almost
home
did,
in his
but
place.
Josh punched a building like 11 times instead. So good restraint, I guess. But yeah, it's it is what it is. Like Josh is a lunatic that you can push buttons and he loses his mind. And then he acts like he doesn't understand what anyone's talking about, and he's not emotional. Because CT was like, "You're gonna go cry in the shower later," which again we've talked about. Crying is not like a sign of like weakness or whatever. It's just that Josh is completely irrational.
What are you crying over?
Yeah,
something that you caused.
Exactly. Like there's not a thing in the world wrong with a man crying. Nothing wrong with a man showing emotion, but if you can't keep yourself in check or you cause your distress, I'm not sure what to say to you.
I mean, I will say like the balance of, CT and Devin definitely made this like fun. If it was just Josh losing his mind, it would get very tiresome. But because of the two people he was interacting with, it made it fun. So after all that, the next morning, Devin and Wes kind of run the numbers and realize that if everyone votes according to plan, they have roughly 50% of the vote. And Devin at one point says if anyone varies from like the formula, then we're kind of screwed on that. And then we show all the voting, whatever. And then I don't think it ultimately mattered, but the one that stood out the most was Kyle voting for Fessy and Anissa for no reason. Like, one, they couldn't see that vote because they're not in there. Two, they weren't even the people being considered. I skipped over the nomination because it was just Josh yelling at Devin and Devin telling him to shut up. And, like it is what it is. Everyone votes.
Well, CT and Big T voted for Devin and Nicole.
Yeah, again, it was like 20 people voted for him. Because again, one of the teammates have already gone home. And so, like, you've already had what's supposed to be a female elimination, and she's already gone home. And so, Devin's obviously inserted himself into some things, and it's the easy vote. Like, I 100% get everyone voting for him. I think he would even understand why everyone voted for him. So they're the compromised agents, Devin and Nicole. Casey and Leroy are in there. They're talking over kind of like strategy, and then they both have confessionals, and they were like, I don't know if I'm going to tell my partner what I'm doing. I don't really trust them. I guess you kind of have Casey siding with like the big brother side of things, and then you have Leroy obviously with Cam, and so there's a rift there, but ultimately it doesn't seem to matter. We get to, you know what, before we get to the crater, let's take another break. We're back. And we get to the crater, and you don't know what it is necessarily. There's just some poles in the ground in a circle from what we see. And
definitely physical.
Actually, I did skip one thing on accident. Wes went and talked to Leroy and Cam just to kind of like set the thing straight and say like he'll run with you. He's never double crossed you and all that.
Well, he told Leroy, I want to hug it out and shake your hand.
Yeah. And
Cam's got that whole operation on lock, though.
Yeah. She says that Wes doesn't have anybody's back but his own, and that, you know, if Leroy is naive enough to trust him, it'll come back to bite him in the butt, which I don't think is super true, because like Wes and Leroy have known each other for a really long time, and
15 years, he says later.
I don't think Leroy is really even on Wes's radar. Cam probably, but not Leroy. Wes has his sights on other people like Nelson and Corey.
Well, I mean, again, Leroy's never won. Wes obviously has, so you gotta basically treat Wes like he's a threat more than other people. And again, Cam has already thrown it out there that they're going after vets. Like, you might as well. It's still like Wes and Natalie are a very strong team. And so we get to the crater, and TJ asks, well, first of all, he says, well, it's a male elimination. So they've flipped the format. And so because of that, they're just, I guess, doing away with the rogue agent thing for this next week because Nicole's gone. And Leroy votes for Wes. And I wasn't sure how Casey would go, but she votes for Wes too. And honestly, like, as much as we love Wes, whatever, like, from a strategic standpoint, it's a very smart play.
It is, but this was, this is a sad deal because two of our faves going against each other, right?
Well, and like legitimately, like two really good friends, like
legitimate friends, yeah.
Well, I mean, immediately Wes is really upset with Leroy. I think he seriously thought that Leroy would put somebody else in. And I don't know if you guys noticed, Wes's confessional was really different from Devin's. Wes's confessional, his aura was very defeated, very sad. He called it a lose-lose situation going against my friend. And then you switch over to Devin's confessional, and he is like already zoned in on the elimination. And he says, when you're in that black sand, no one is your friend.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, so we don't have context behind what's going on, but Devin at one point said, like, I'm doing this for my mom. She's going through like a hard situation. And so I would assume, because of how close Devin and Wes are, that Wes knows some things behind the scenes. And Wes, as we've talked about before, the reason he took a break for so many years was because he has companies and all this stuff. Wes doesn't need the challenge money-wise, like, right? Like, I think we all agree on that. I think he just likes to compete at this point.
Wes does the challenge for fun, not because he needs to.
Yeah, and there are some people that legitimately need to, like, this is life-changing money, and like I don't blame anyone that gets a chance to do it. So I do think that comes into play in this. But Wes, like she said in the confessional, but even like on the crater, like he looked checked out.
Yeah, he started out defeated, and then after that was just struggling to focus. And I mean, it's not anything that I personally like to see.
I mean, he's typically giving some sort of speech prior to elimination about how he's going to take whoever it is to school, right?
Yeah.
And that just wasn't the tone. Like,
No.
We didn't get any of the normally cocky, self-confident Wes.
Yeah, and
I think you see this in any like avenue, any sports arena, right? When you're mentally not there, it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you're mentally checked out,
yep,
it's a wrap.
You can see it in their eyes.
Yeah. He just, and again, there was this. He just wasn't there, and he even said, like, it's embarrassing and whatever. The elimination is called Snapping Point. It's very similar to one we saw in Free Agents, and we've seen a couple other episodes, but particularly on Free Agents, you had the big battle with Kara and Nia doing one that kind of like set Kara's like course as far as like the face of the challenge for a long time. Like she dug in and won a bunch of those. And
let's not take anything away from Devin, man, because he still had to go out there and like, beat him. And it really wasn't close at any point.
Devin got further on the run, and so he was closer. And then it's a game of like patience. Like you gotta like just pull every little bit you get whenever you get a chance. And again, Wes just wasn't in it. Like you could see it.
He was really checked out, and then they cut to a confessional where Wes was talking about how he's won these before and Devin hasn't, and how they're really good friends, and he thinks that Devin really needs this. And I was like, oh, he's just gonna give it to Devin.
I don't know. I don't think he gave it to him.
I don't think he gave up, but I think he knew he was really checked out and he didn't have as much drive as Devin did, especially in the moment. I mean, like you could see it in his eyes. He wasn't totally there, and Devin was.
And I do think he also felt like betrayed by Leroy, because he's like, we've been doing these for 15 years. He's like, I've never come after you. Like, I don't know why all of a sudden. But again, like from a strategic standpoint, I don't blame Leroy, and I don't blame Casey, and I don't blame Cam. Like, you've got a chance to take out one of two friends who are part of another alliance, and also possibly send home a really strong champion, which happened. And, the rest is up in the air because Devin doesn't even have a partner as of right then.
Well, in that whole speech Wes gave at the end, I mean, maybe it was just me, but it looked like he was like fighting back tears a little bit. His eyes looked a little watery. And then
it was like Papa West. Like he was like he was like teaching them a lesson.
I think it really hurt his feelings because
no, to cap it off with gang up on Leroy. Like,
I
was like, dang.
Well, Wes usually does like a really funny or some kind of speech after he gets eliminated. But when he turned to the house and started off with, I've won a couple of these. I've never had to lie to my friends to do it. One day you're going to look back and want to be proud of your choices and how far you made it. And I was like, wow, this is really like,
it was
uncharacteristically serious.
It was like he was like the principal at a school, and like some kids got in trouble, like smoking behind the gym or something. And he's like, guys, you got to think about your choices and who you're hanging out with and all that type of stuff. And like, again, it was a different vibe. Like, it sucks that Wes went home because obviously we're all fans of Wes. I do think it means more to Devin. And we're going to talk with Devin on Monday, and we'll get his take on it. Had no idea when I got in touch with him that this was coming because again, we're spoiler free.
Yeah, you messaged him like right before the episode.
Well, I messaged him initially on December 16th.
Yeah, but I mean today.
Yeah, I messaged him before the episode even really started.
What was so funny was immediately when TJ said that Devin won, he like went off, started yelling, and then screamed, "F you, Leroy, eat my butt." And I just made a note on that. I was like, as much as I hate to see Wes go, I really love Devin.
Well,
and I thought that was hilarious.
And here's the thing, like I was like, man, Devin, like if he stays with Natalie, like that's a solid team for him. But I was like, he could go after Cam just to like screw them up. But Hannah said, well, Kyle's already with Cam, so that's already an in with that alliance right there. And so he picked Tori,
who's supposed to be like his arch nemesis.
Yeah, which they had this whole byline about them being on a show called Second Chances, which is just Are You the One?
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
It's Are You the One Second Chances? Or no, it may have been X on the Beach Second Chances. I think that's what it was. So anyway, like Devin is with Tori now, which is a solid pairing.
But that gives Corey Natalie as a partner, which Corey's really not upset about it.
That's I think Corey got an upgrade.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, we've not seen a lot from Natalie,
but she's really tough and she's really smart. And Wes was really pouring wisdom and information and gameplay and strategies into her as much as he could until he left.
And she won Survivor. So like I think Corey and Natalie are very under the radar team.
Yeah, for
forward.
Sure. And then after that, TJ kind of like reminds the house about the importance of the skulls and that's what they're playing for. And it kind of gave me the vibe like I kind of think that TJ thinks that what are they called? Double agents, the ones that win the dailies?
I don't remember.
Whatever they are, the power team.
Do you remember the power team?
Choosing to skip out on elimination when it's something that they could absolutely win, that he thinks these teams are playing scared.
Leroy could have beat Devin tonight. And Fessy.
And Fessy could have won last week.
Fessy would have wiped the floor with Joseph last week. But it is. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, Natalie and Devin and who won last week? Why am I blanking out on that? Kyle. They're the ones that have skulls right now, and like someone else has to go against Devin, and like even though he may not seem like a hard out, like he's beat Bananas and Wes at this point.
Plus, if it's a puzzle elimination, he's got an upper hand against most guys.
And I'm not saying he's going to win, like, if he had to do the ring toss thing like we saw with Joseph or whatever it was against Fessy or one of those big guys. But, like, he's in the best shape he's ever been on the challenge, and he's very smart. And so, like, it's not out of the question. He's not, like, a 10,000 to 1 odds to lose. Like, I mean, you got to give him a better chance than I think a lot of people give him credit for. We'll see going forward. I love the twist of this season as far as the partner changes and all that, because it keeps refreshing everything.
Hey, so far this season is top notch.
It's been really great.
Yeah.
Like War of the Worlds 1 was amazing. 2 was kind of a letdown. Total Madness I think was better than War of the Worlds 2. But this is way better than Total Madness.
But they clearly had the time to really lay this all out, right?
Yeah.
To
you
edit
didn't do
too.
a season. I'm not even editing, but planning what this season was going to look like.
Yeah.
And so do you think, Zach, you're a tech guy, you're a production guy.
Okay.
Do you think this will set a new precedent?
I don't know, because they had a lot longer. It's weird because they had longer and shorter to turn this around, because they had a longer layoff than normal between filming, but then they also got this one out really fast. So I wonder if they did a lot of pre-production work where they're let's really, really plan this out and get templates made and graphics and all that type of stuff. And then you can kind of just plug and play as needed. Because even little transitions that don't even matter. Like there's one shot tonight where, Devin's the compromised agent, and it showed him and 2 other people on the screen. Quick shot, but then they did like a glitch out effect just on Devin because he's compromised.
Yeah.
Like little stuff like that. It's not huge, but it's like really nice little touches that like you could easily not do, and 95% of the people would never notice.
No.
But
it's like a cherry on top. But a lot of success comes from your planning, and I think they had a lot of extra time to really plan details, kind of map things out for this season. And I think with all that extra time to prepare, it was easier to execute in a good way.
And other than maybe 3 people, I think the cast is nailed. Like they nailed the cast.
Yeah, it's a really good cast. I'm very impressed.
So, Jake, do we do this superlatives first, or do we do fantasy first?
We finished with fantasy.
All right, so
we do superlatives.
Let's do the superlatives first. So who smashed some heads? Jake, you're going to go first.
Am I?
Yep.
You know what? I know you. Most people would probably go the separate route on this guy, or the opposite route. But I'm gonna give it to Wes for just like really laying his heart out there in a way that like showing some emotion that maybe we've never seen before. So even though he lost, I'm gonna give the award of smashing heads to Wes for being real genuine tonight.
Yeah,
It was a new side of Wes that we got to see. I went with Devin, not because of the elimination, but because, first of all, Josh, egging Josh on for quite a while. And then he smashed the heads of everybody in the house after winning the elimination. Nobody thought he was going to win that.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Devin. I'll say for the elimination win, but also just because like just nail like time like. Comedy is all about timing.
We didn't even talk about a quote that he had earlier on in the episode. He was talking about before the daily, he and Nicole, he was like, we're brains and brawn, we are English and whatever Nicole speaks.
Yeah, I kind of glanced at like I referenced whatever that was, but I didn't write the quote down. But yeah, it's comedy is all about timing. If your timing's off, like even in editing, like if you're editing these clips together, and we went back last episode where you had Nicole rambling, and I was like in the moment, like I have no idea what she's saying, and then it cuts to that quiet moment with just Kyle and Devin, and he's like, I don't know what my partner is talking about, and it's just like perfect timing. Got to give it to Devin, but also for just like showing what a lunatic Josh is. Because Devin just like, I don't have anything to lose. Who cares?
Yeah.
So that's mine. So Jake, who got their head smashed?
Listen, I can't. Not
it's got to be unanimous. It's got to be unanimous. Hannah, I don't care what you wrote down. It's got to be unanimous.
Okay.
It's wrong. It's wrong. If it's anything other than Josh, it's just plain wrong.
Can I at least say what I wrote and why?
No.
Before I change it to Josh?
You can, but it's not going on record.
It's not canon.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I originally wrote Wes just because he started off that elimination in the wrong headspace.
I was gonna forbid anyone from saying Wes for who got their head smashed because like this was on a different level, and because so clearly Josh is who deserved it. And Josh did it to himself.
Yeah,
like,
I know. And Josh is on my fantasy team, so like I don't have a problem changing my answer to Josh because, wow. I didn't originally put him down just because I put him under his head being smashed by Devin. And I didn't want to like kind of piggyback off of the same answer.
Josh, like I already used this meme last season. It's the epitome of DW looking at the door. And it's like, well, this sign won't stop me because I can't read. It's like there's no context clues with him. It's like you could have Casey and CT working it out as adults, and Josh is like, well, we got to make sure mine and CT's longtime friendship is good in this.
I don't want to have a falling out.
Yeah,
with you.
Again, like
that caught me so off guard.
Josh is a lunatic. Like I don't care what anyone says. He's never gonna come on this show, and I think we've.
I'd be afraid to say something to set him off, like because you don't know.
If you're like Josh, like how's your friendship with Nani? And he'd be like,
Hey, you watch?
I swear to God. He's like, if you bring that up again.
Or like, hey man, that was I mean this. Like, hey man, that was a nice shirt you had on tonight's episode. Don't talk about my shirt like that.
That was what production gave me, and I didn't have a choice in it, and I was very mad about it.
Oh God,
I do kind of like his sense of style. His fashion's pretty.
He's got
good.
a nice style.
I really liked his outfit when he was getting mad at CT. It was a good outfit.
And the guy's just a loose cannon in every sense of the word, and he's like the James Harden of the challenge. Like, doesn't care.
Oh
about,
my gosh.
Like, anyway. Like that's unanimous. It's got to be that, just based on and he was just getting dunked on left and right by everybody else, and so that's the unanimous pick. So
all right. Song of the week, starting off with Jake.
Hey man, one of my favorite bands of all time. I think they are the epitome of metalcore. It's Architects. Architects. Nobody does it better than them, and they are getting ready to drop a new album. They've released a couple of singles. One of those singles is called Black Lungs, and they're clearly going for a more like stadium rock vibe. They're guitarist of like, they've been a band for over 10 years, and they're all really tight, right? Like, it's the same guys for the most part. Their guitarist died before their last album was released, and so like, they're kind of like, they finished up that album kind of going off the kind of sound he would create because he was the primary like songwriter. And so they're going a new direction just to create a fresh sound and everything. And it's different. I definitely prefer some of their other stuff, but this is like, when you're as good as they are, you just can't get it wrong. And so the band is Architects. The song is called Black Lungs.
Didn't Memphis Mayfire do that though? Like they were like a metalcore band, and then they're like, you know what? We're going to be 3 Days Grace now.
But you know, it's not stadium rock in that regard. Like that, there is a gross kind of rock. What Memphis Mayfire did is disgusting, and it's not good. It's just not. Plus, they also were never on the level of just. Yeah,
I never liked Memphis Mayfire, but I remember I watched a video and I was like, this is not at all what I remembered them sounding like.
That was pretty recent too.
You talk to anybody that like listens to the metalcore genre religiously, and Architects is at the top of everyone's list.
Which still remains.
No.
Hannah's gonna go.
It's my turn, and you are not gonna take my turn from me. We don't cut lines. My song of the week is my favorite Christmas song in the whole wide world because stop, turn it off. This is my turn. This is my favorite Christmas song because my dad's dad used to wake my dad and my aunt up on Christmas morning.
You weren't there.
Every morning he would wake them up by running through the house singing this song at the top of his lungs. And so that was a tradition my dad kept going, and so he used to sing this song all December long, but he would sing it on a loop on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day because he just loved the song, I think because of my grandfather, but it makes me love it a lot too. So the song is Christmas Time's A-Comin'. You can listen. Stop.
Oh, God.
You're disgusting. Stop it. Ricky Skaggs and his family sing it, but also Dolly Parton has a rendition that's really good too.
Skaggs would be coming.
I hate both of you.
I hate Christmas music, so
that's because you hate all things Christmas. You are the Grinch.
No, it's the same. It's the same.
The only part of Christmas that you like is receiving gifts.
No, I don't mind Christmas. I don't like Christmas music, and that ruins a lot of it because it's a lot of the same songs over and over and over again.
Not this one.
And it's a lot of crooners, which I just don't like in general.
Not this.
And it's just, it is what it is. I don't enjoy it.
This is country folk. It's the opposite of everything that you just said.
Well, I think Jake's would be the opposite of everything I just said. But for me, I'm going to go with, because I saw someone that Jake and I used to know back in the day post about the lead singer of Eve 6, which is a band that has not been relevant for a long time, but I still listen to their debut album a lot. I listened to it like a week ago. He's just on Twitter just running amok right now, and
Amok.
yeah, he's he basically is like tweeting to like Marilyn Manson as like, hey, did you guys ever hear the song Inside Out by Eve Six? As Eve Six, like he's the band. And then he's like the lead singer of Third Eye Blind effed my girlfriend. And he's like, I'm real mad about it, which was in like the 90s. And then he said he was at a hotel, and the reason why they got Third Eye Blind lead singer was mad at him is because the lead singer of Eve Six walked up to the front desk and stole a big bucket of candy off the front desk and said, I'm the lead singer of Third Eye Blind. I can do whatever I want. And so they called that guy.
That's really funny.
They called that guy's room like 3 a.m, demanding that he bring that back. And he didn't know what he was talking about. So that's why I picked Eve Six Inside Out. But actually, the whole album is really good. So we're going to take one last break. And if you don't like breaks, join our Patreon because you don't have to listen to them. But we're going to be coming back with fantasy stuff. And we will be right back. We're back. Patreon.com/SmashingThis podcast is how you don't have to listen to that if you don't want to. And like I said, if you somehow missed it in the middle, Devin Walker's coming on the show. We're going to interview him next week. So we will be putting up on Patreon questions for that soon. Jake, let's get into the fantasy. Let me get my keyboard ready, though.
Yeah, get it ready, Zach. We got a lot of points to roll with here.
Ready like a hot machete.
Yeah. All right. Do you want me to go ahead and like do this thing? You want me to go ahead and start it off?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm having to adjust my mic and some different things, but let's go.
All right. I have to give 5 points to Kyle for referring to himself as the big bad wolf.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah,
Yes.
Let's see. 5 points each to Big T and CT for becoming Big CT.
Both on my team. Way to go. They've both been like neutrals so far.
You officially have 10 points.
Yeah.
For your whole team.
Yeah.
So Big T encouraged CT to smile, and I don't know if you guys really paid attention to his smile, but it was pretty iconic.
Mm-hmm.
I have to give him 10 points for that smile.
10?
Yeah.
No, I do 5 for that.
No. Zach, did you see that smile?
I saw it. It was iconic.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it was worth
I think it's a 10-point
points. Are you
smile.
kidding me?
No,
Listen.
not at all, man.
All right, keep going.
I tell you what, I'm not even going to acknowledge your responses, Han, if you don't put yourself back in the camera. I can't even see you.
My back is hurting the way that I'm sitting, and so I'm trying to lean on my other arm to kind of relieve my
She's
spine
also
a
on
little bit.
Instagram, so
I
that's how
gotta
much she
listen to this.
respects your post. I mean,
No,
Jake, I
listening.
respect your process, and I'm zoned in. I'm doing work right now.
Yeah, not everything is a 5-pointer. All right?
Not even that, but she's just not even respectful. She's
Yeah.
reading
Okay.
messages on Instagram.
Stop.
Big T being a hawk, 5 points.
Absolutely.
Then you
CT
should
being a
do -5 for Fuzzy Bunny.
no, I'm gonna give him 5 too. Fuzzy Bunny, CT. Look, we thought it was goofy. We talked about it. I got to take away 10 points from Fessy for being dumb, giving away the advantage for like
I do agree. That was a bad move.
Yeah.
no apparent
I agree.
reason. I want to give Kyle 5 more points for admitting to lying because once Fessy called him out on it, he was like, "You're right."
Absolutely.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Got to give -5 to Corey, Nelson, and Fessy for being the stupid brigade.
Corey, Nelson. All right. I'm trying to find
Yeah.
everybody. Who's Nelson on? Let's.
Yours. He's number 2 on your list.
Oh man. Okay, I'm good.
I want to listen. We got to award fights on here, right?
Okay.
I'm going to give 10 points each to Kyle and Fessy for their verbal altercation.
Okay. Although Fessy didn't really say anything, he just gave away a big secret.
Oh
we're-
no, Fessy said a couple things to Kyle because after Kyle was like, "Yeah, I'm lying, but you know that's because you the little you stupid brigade," and then
great.
and then Fessy was like, "Okay, Wes, why don't you ask him because it see how much he's lying right now?" And then Kyle's like, "What'd you just say to me?" It was like they got a little heated.
I don't think Fessy's ever heated.
Well, you know, we've had Coach Cam, we've had Killer Cam,
Mhm.
we had Calming Cam coming in the room and just diffusing that whole situation.
It
5
was like
points to Cam.
it was
Okay.
like not just calming Cam, but it was like the stern talking to because she said that now that Kyle's her partner, he needs to abide by her rules. And I was like, okay. It's like I don't know how. I want to call her Mom Cam, but it's got to start with a K.
Call her Dom Cam. She's dominating. And Kyle's her sub. We watch a lot of TikTok cringe. Doms and subs.
Well, we gotta give Cam another 10 points for breaking out the fur. In her confession.
I didn't even notice that, so I wouldn't give it 10.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta dock Fessy another 10 for upsetting his boys and not talking to them first. And even his partner too about the, letting people know about the advantage.
Yeah, I agree.
At one point, I don't remember what the segment was, like what we were transitioning into, but somebody just yelled at Peanut Butter to get out of the room. So that's negative 10 on her.
Because some random person yelled it, she gets negative 10. That's crazy. She's going to lose a lot of points for going home.
No, but she's going to get a lot of points too.
Do a -5.
Negative 10 for some random person off camera yelling at her.
Because how often do people get told to get out of the room?
I don't know. But
I say -5 for that.
I agree. I think that's a 5.
Let's see. When the whole challenge activated thing has come on, someone has either yelled challenge activated or responded crazily. Leo just stared at the sign for about 10 seconds. So I'm going to give him 5 points for just, I don't know if he was confused.
It could have been editing. Like, he could have just been staring off into space earlier.
5 or -5? Because if he's not paying attention.
Well, he clearly was paying attention.
Like he's spaced out.
He's in a trance.
He was looking up at the sign. The lights were flashing.
By the way,
do you think he was hypnotized?
That green, that crazy bright, that's all done in post-production. Those lights are not that. I think there are lights flashing, but it is not that bright.
Moving on, I'm going to give
last week.
I'm going to give 5 points to Leroy for doing the ET pointing look when TJ was driving up in the vehicle.
Yeah, sure.
He said he pointed. He went, "Look."
Yeah, I got it. But ET said, "Phone home."
Did he?
Yes.
That's the most famous line.
I know. And during that same segment, Jeyyy decided to announce that he loves his life, and so 5 points to him for loving his life.
Okay.
He's happy. Content.
I want to give Corey 5 because in that same segment he said, "Come on." Wild.
He said he wanted to hurt somebody.
Oh, he said he just yelled, "Come on!" So that's what I acknowledged.
Okay.
I want to give 5 points to Devin and Nicole each for being fire and ice. It's what he referred to them as. He also said, "I ain't no Joseph." So another 5 to Devin for not being Joseph.
True.
Negative. Look, when I did this initially, you don't know that she's legitimately hurt, but I wanted to deduct 5 from Nicole for calling timeout as if this was a game of chase.
She was legitimately, like, she got medically disqualified.
So it leads into me giving -5 to Cam for actually acknowledging the timeout because she stopped when,
Yeah, but Cam was the one that was yelling for a medic.
Not at first, she wasn't. She's like me in that, like, we just think this girl's calling for a timeout. Context.
So what are the points in this one?
-5 to Peanut Butter and -5 to Cam. Okay. Now, this is where Nicole gets some of her points back. I want to give her 15 for continuing to perform post timeout with one arm.
Not even that, but like
without like screaming or
that
crying?
she was like fine afterwards. She's like, "Yeah, let's just get it checked out." I gotta compete.
20. I'd give her 20, Zach.
I'll do that.
That's just because it gets you points.
But he also gave her -5 right before
points.
that.
Yeah.
All right. Also, I have 0 for this season. I have 0.
I got to give Cam 5 for being goofy and tapping on Nicole's shoulder, I guess, to check if it was really out of place there.
Well, Michi does the same thing later to Liv. He like grabs her arm after she's like, "I just snapped my arm."
Yeah, he grabs it and what is it? Corey or Tori like grabs him and like pulls him back. They're like, "You don't touch her. Don't do that."
Let's see here. I want to give 5 points to Josh and Wes for the much anticipated, I guess, Josh and Wes matchup.
Yeah. I think you got to give Wes more points than Josh on that one because he outsmarted him.
So I'm gonna get to that. I ain't there yet. I got to deduct 5 from Nani for wanting Josh over anyone else when she's on top of a moving truck.
Yeah, again.
It's so in line.
Not the smartest team.
All right, Natalie's about to go on a run of points here.
Here we go, baby.
Natalie gets 5 for putting the fear of God in Nani.
Okay.
She gets 5 for basically ragdolling this girl.
Okay.
She also gets 5 for a thong show. Her thong popped out.
It's true.
Ew, it did.
It did.
Yeah.
You're gonna give points for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Jake's favorite moment.
Stupid.
At some point, Josh told Wes to let him go, so -5 for that.
Yeah, he's like, let me go. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense.
We got wide receiver coach Wes over here telling us he watches a lot of football with the toe drag reference. 5 points to Wes.
Which he initiated it. He did. I mean, he executed it. He got it done.
I do want to give 5 to Nani for holding her own against Natalie, who's just a
Natalie
monster.
was surprisingly pretty scrappy for this daily. Like she
mean
lasted.
Now you mean
Nani was surprisingly scrappy against Natalie. She lasted a lot longer than I thought she would.
I got to give 5 to Darrell for that man used to wrestle. Quote talking about Leo. Amber B plays rugby. 5 points to her.
Also, she's from Knoxville.
Oh God, give her another 5. That's hometown state right there.
Yeah. Hometown state.
Yeah. According to Darrell, Leo hit him with a Sonic the Hedgehog move, so 5 points to Leo.
Yep. Which, by the way, me and you saw that movie in theaters pre-COVID, and it's pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
It's a fun time.
Enough so that Zach immediately afterwards tried to make me go to the theater and pay money again so that I would watch it with him.
I'd watch it again.
And I was like, I don't want to pay money like that.
There are worse things you could spend double money on.
Mm-hmm.
5 points to Tori for literally flipping Liv.
And then breaking her arm almost.
Another 5 for breaking her arm. Yeah.
Does that mean Liv gets -5 for breaking an arm?
I'm about to get there, Han.
Okay.
Another 5 to Tori for admitting she doesn't feel bad.
Can I give Tori and Corey 5 points each, even though they're neither one on my team, because they referred to themselves as Team Ori.
Yeah,
and
let's do it.
I thought that was a good name.
Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps are 2 of the best games on Xbox. And
yeah, 5 points each to those 2.
Thanks.
You guys are welcome.
I said thanks.
-5 to Liv for the injury.
But it was not a medically disqualifying injury.
No, but she still got
She just got a
injured.
sling. Yeah, she did.
Leroy with the I don't have no give up in me quote. 5 points to Leroy.
Mm-hmm.
Before Nelson's turn, he went ha ha.
Also, and then he like side-eyed the camera and then like zoomed in on it.
Yeah, 5 points to Nelson.
Yeah, what was that? Because he like, who's his partner, Gabby?
No, it is the Amber from Are You the One that is the tiniest person.
Amber M was talking about how she was going to do her best, la-di-da-di-da, and I was like, that's not very convincing. And then Nelson's like, yeah, I'm going to dominate. And then he like looks over at the side afterwards, and I'm like, he's not very convincing either.
All right, there's still a lot of points.
You got to.
Oh
blow
my
through
gosh,
these.
let's go.
You're gonna have to maybe cut down this segment.
Okay. Where am I at? I got to give Big T 5 points for the Popeye put him up little thing she did in her confessional. Right, 5 points. -10 to Big T for just jumping off against Anissa. Anissa gave her a little nudge, but basically a jump off there.
She was ready to go.
Let's see. All right. Daily winners, 25 points to Leroy and 25 points to Casey.
You said 30. You put 35.
It was a typo. Calm down.
God, she's on it.
I know. Like, I
Casey's
literally
number
just
7 on
typed
Jake's
it.
team. Jake.
Look, we got to deduct 25 from peanut butter if we're going home.
Yes.
You're gonna. So I would say in losing an elimination, yes. Like a medical DQ, I do feel is like that's out of your control.
-10.
I do think it can be a negative, but like -25 for something you're not in charge of is tough.
-10. -10.
All right, so let's keep that a
You
precedent.
put
going.
that on Natalie.
Let's. It's same thing. Let's keep that a precedent going forward. If someone else gets medically DQ'd, like you
It's
get penalized for
-10.
going home, but it's out of your control. It's not losing an elimination.
All right, 5 points to Devin for feeling bad for his partner. Liv overcoming her injury and coming back into the house, 10 points.
She didn't go home.
She didn't go home.
Okay.
Let's see. CT giving cooking lessons, 10 points.
Dude, I think we're gonna have a run going right now.
Here we go.
Casey supposedly ovening a microwavable pizza, -5.
I thought it was on the stove, but it
Number
doesn't
7.
matter. Yeah.
CT just wanted some eggs, 5 points.
He wants an egg quesadilla
Yeah,
specifically.
what? That's a weird thing. Like I can't picture what an egg quesadilla is.
This is a quesadilla with eggs.
Josh interjecting, -5. CT with the one word stop response, 5 points.
Yeah.
Let's see. Josh lying about Casey crying, -5.
I'd almost say -10 on that because they had him
let's
on
give it
video.
-10. Yeah, let's give it -10. Let's see. Casey isn't crying. I want to give her 5 points for that.
Yeah. She was fine.
Josh saying that he never said she was crying, -5.
Well, so I think that plays into the 10 we just gave, the -10. I feel like that's
I
doubling.
don't think so because he doubled down on it.
Okay.
I want to give Josh and CT 20 points each for that insane screaming competition. I just do.
Why are you yelling? Because you're stupid.
I
Isn't that what
specifically
CT
wanted,
yelled?
I think he did, yeah.
I want to give Josh another 10 points for two things. Why are you screaming at me? One quote.
Okay, well, I feel like that you said you just gave him 20 for screaming.
But because they specifically were just yelling. They weren't even saying anything.
They had
They were
good quotes
yelling.
though.
Okay.
So
But
why
here-
are you yelling at me?
But I'm giving 5 points for why are you screaming at me, and another 5 for he hurt my friend for no reason over eggs,
Which he didn't do.
No.
which he didn't.
But it was funny.
5 points to Devin for Big Brother sucks.
Twice.
Hold on,
Okay.
Easy does it.
Sorry.
Fessy thinks Devin is funny. 5 points to Fessy. Devin asked for people to eat his butt. 5 points. Devin with the doubles down on Big Brother sucks. 5 points.
Hilarious.
Josh getting his feelings hurt over said quote. -5.
Yep.
Yep.
These are canceling each other out.
They're both
Devin-
on Hannah's team.
Devin doing all this work in a sweatsuit. 5 points.
Yeah.
And smoking.
Yeah, Devin throwing out math equations. 5 points.
What's 8 times 9? What's 8 times 9?
What is 8 times 9?
It's 72.
64.
Jake, you win.
Yeah. Josh getting further frazzled by said math equation.
You
-5.
can't put me on the spot like that.
CT just confirming that Josh is funny. 5 points to CT. Look, I gotta give.
I thought in that moment he was saying Devin was funny. Like
I thought it was about Josh.
Oh, okay,
I
it may
thought
have
it was
been
about
Because
Josh,
he
too.
said, I'm sorry. He's funny, though.
I know. I thought he was saying, "I'm sorry, Josh. Devin's funny though." It doesn't.
No,
It's the same
He
content.
thought
Yeah.
it was funny.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
I got to deduct 10 from Josh for punching walls.
like 10 times.
That's like
yeah.
negative XP. That had to hurt a little bit.
Gamer girl over here.
Let's see. I gotta deduct 5 from Wes. He got his feelings hurt by Corey.
Number 2. Number 2 on Jake's.
Devin is still telling Josh to shut up the next morning in deliberation. 5 points to Devin. Corey in voting gave us the whole adage of it's not me, it's you. Like he's breaking up with somebody. 5 points to Corey.
You got to get going, man. There's so
I'm
much math
I'm
already.
I'm trying to. I've got a few more here.
We're going to have to do away with all these 5-pointers.
-10 to Devin and Nicole for getting voted in. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to eliminate all the unnecessary.
But hold on, can I say, like, Nicole's already off the show by this point?
So
Why does she get negative points?
All right, so take the -10 away from her.
Like, Devin got thrown in because he was being a dick to everybody.
Yeah.
No, not to everybody. To Josh.
Yeah, but I mean, he made himself an easy target.
I want to give Wes 10 points for being as sentimental as he was. But we're also going to deduct 10 from him and Natalie for being thrown in by Leroy and Casey. Amber B let us know that Devin drinks a lot of beer. 5 points to Amber B. I don't know that she's gotten any points all season, but 5 points to her.
She's got 10 already tonight.
Oh, my God.
For the season, nothing before this.
Wes's eyes didn't want it. -5 to Wes. -25 to Wes for losing the elimination.
Yep.
And 50 to Devin for winning it.
Yep.
Another 5 to Devin for giving the middle finger to Leroy.
Yeah.
Literally yelling out, F you, Leroy, eat my butt.
Another 5 points to Devin for showing emotion as well. He was teary-eyed in his victory speech.
Yeah.
I want to give combined 10 here for Wes's farewell speech while also telling the house to gang up on Leroy.
Okay.
That's good.
-5 for Leroy for having people encouraged to be ganged up or to gang up on him.
So he's getting negative points for someone else telling. Okay.
Yeah.
He brought it on himself.
I want to give Cam 5 for hitting Wes with the boy bye. I got to give Devin another 10 for getting strong compliments from TJ.
Yeah. TJ said this was the best he had ever seen Devin compete.
Yeah. And 5 points to Devin for infiltrating and -5 to Tori for being infiltrated.
Okay.
Now, we don't have to do this. I did a whole matchups won, matchups lost on the daily, but we can forego those.
That's way
points.
too much. Yeah, we got so many points.
That's
all right,
fine.
so I'm going to take my headphones off. I'm going to let you two talk while I do some quick math.
You want to just take a break here? We did that last week.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of breaks this episode. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's be honest. Me and Hannah are just going to talk about our personal lives, and no one cares.
But also, didn't you just cut this out?
No, I literally stopped recording. So yeah, we'll be back in a minute, and you'll hear the results. All right, we're back. I did all my math, and
all right, hit us with the results, Zach. What are we looking at here?
Let's go.
So I'm going to give the weekly results, and then for the season. So for the week, in third place is Jake with 45 total points.
I figured.
Wes losing. You didn't have, but Casey winning the daily. Wes canceling out. I mean, with him losing the elimination. Then I come in second with 130.
Oh my God!
That's CT Leroy winning the daily. Nicole Z had a little bit. It was mainly CT got 65 points tonight.
Yeah.
And so I got 130 for tonight. Hannah ended up, even with all of the negatives from Josh, she ended up just Josh. Just Josh had her
math
-45 points. Just Josh,
and well earned.
I agree.
So he actually didn't come away with a net negative. He just had 45 negative points against him. I think he came out like a -15 overall, -10 overall. But but the thing is, Devin destroyed tonight.
Yes.
Devin alone had 110 points.
We're gonna have to tell him about that.
Yeah. So
I have a solid freaking team this.
Well,
this
for now, it's gonna when people start going away is when it's gonna get in trouble. But
so how many points do I have for
Hannah
this
has
week?
a commanding lead. She had 145 this week, which is what she had total last week after 2 weeks.
So
it was in a commanding lead.
That's 290. 290. Yeah.
She has 290. I have 130 overall, which is all just this week because I was at 0 after 2 weeks. And Jake, you're at 125.
So me and you are right there.
We're 5 points apart. She just took a commanding lead with Devin and Fessy and like those type of guys. And Kyle went in elimination last week. Yeah.
But you see, like all it takes is one big episode.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would have had Devin, doing 110 points in a night.
But
it happened.
Like I've got Fessy, Kyle, Corey, Cam, Devin, and Josh.
Yeah. So
not to mention Nom. I'm still waiting on Nom to do some stuff.
Yeah, Nom hasn't done anything. Gabby and Brianne haven't done anything. She's got some dead spots, but she has some heavy hitters.
See, I've already lost 2 people, and
I lost Nicole Z and Joseph, which Joseph is whatever. But
I lost 2 of my like top.
Yeah,
what
you lost Wes and Ashley. Those your number 2 and number 4 pick.
Your top contenders.
Yeah,
those were some big names. You're hoping for some daily eliminations and drama.
Yeah,
more with Ashley than Wes. So I'd say Hannah's looking the best right now. I'm maybe second, and then Jake, your team's not looking great unless you get some big upsets. So, anyway, like we said at the top of the show. Follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/SmashingHeadsPodcast, because our patrons are going to get to ask questions, which, hey, we're interviewing Devin Walker on Monday. So check that out. And, again, they get all these things ad-free and early. So, just do that. Follow us on social media at Smashing Heads Podcast on Twitter, at Smashing Heads. Sorry, at just Smashing Heads on Twitter, at Smashing Heads Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And, again, no Snapchat or TikTok. So, do that. We will be back with you guys next week, and then at some point we'll have the Fresh Meat finale. If anyone's urgently waiting on that, that'll drop at some point this weekend. And other than that, we love this season. Everyone stay safe. Happy holidays, and we will see you next week.
Have a good night, everyone.